Okay, we're going to be doing, hold up a second, it reverted back for me. Here we go. We're going to start right here. Solve this equation by factoring or by making an appropriate substitution. We just did it by factoring because remember, again, it's all about this power has to be half of this one. Well, so there's nothing there, so it's 1. So half is, yes, half of 1. So we're going to factor. It already is equal to 0, so we're good. Remember, we're always going to put the middle power goes right there, whatever it might be. Now, what two numbers multiply to 2 and subtract to 1? Well, that'd be 2 and 1. Signs are different. The big one is plus. So set both of them equal to 0. Okay, and this one gets equal to 0. I think the second one's going to be a little easier to address just because it's 1 and it's positive. When it comes over, it'll be positive 1. Now remember, when you counteract it, you have to raise it to the power. So basically, you're doing the inverse. 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, over here, we're going to have p to the 1/2 equals -2. Well, then we're going to square both sides. Now make sure when you square both sides, you're capturing that negative. So that's going to be p equals 4. Well, we just raised it to a power, so we're going to have to check. So p plus p to the 1/2 minus 2 equals 0. So here goes. We're going to put something there. 1/2 minus 2 equals 0. All right. So put in, let's see here, 4. 4, 4. Okay, so 4 plus, now remember, the half power is the same thing as square root. So the square root of 4 is 2. So that means these two cancel out, and I have 4 equals 0. That is not true, which means he doesn't work. So don't erase him, just put an X on him to let me know that you found him, and then you figured out he didn't work. Okay, so now you got to check this guy. So I'm going to do p plus p to the 1/2 minus 2 equals 0. Okay, so let's go back in, and we're going to put the 1 in the place. Okay, so I've got 1 plus the square root of 1 is 1. Minus 2 equals 0. So I've got 2 minus 2 equals 0. Bingo, that's legit. So box him up, let me know that he's a legitimate answer. Okay. All right, last little part. You can have 2 radical questions on your test. You'll have one that's basic like this. So remember, the first thing you want to do is get the radical alone. So the 6 needs to move over. And then you're going to square both sides. Remember, square root is the same thing as, or I can do square root of x. That's the same thing as x to the 1/2 power. So it's very similar to what we were just doing. It just looks different to your eyes, but all that's to the 1/2 power. When you square that, you get a minus 4 equals 36. All right, add 4 to both sides. We've got 40. Now, technically speaking, you're supposed to check it. These always work, but you can check it. So 40 minus 4 equals 6. Well, that would be the square root of 36 equals 6. Yes, it is. So box him up. He's a legitimate answer. Those are not a problem, but be ready for that. It's coming. Then you're going to have, let me see how many more I got. Okay, so we've got several more. May end up with a 3rd video. We'll see. You're definitely going to have one that has 2 square roots on it. So this one, there's nothing that you can rearrange. You have one of these radicals already isolated, that one. So you might as well go ahead and square one side. And you're just going to have to live with the mess that occurs on the right side. So, but this one is isolated, and you're purposely trying to get rid of the radicals on this side. Over here, you're just going to live with it. But grab the entire side and square it. On the left side, these counteract each other, they're inverses, and you just get x plus 15. All right, now on the right side, this is 4 square root of x times 4 square root of x. So that means 4 times 4 is 16, and square root of x squared, those kill each other off, and you just get a regular old x. So whatever's living under the house. At that point, you solve it out. So let's see here, 15, and then that's going to be 15x. Divide 3 by 15. So x is 1. Okay, got to check. So if we take our original problem, that means that I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put 1 plus 15, sorry I'm in the wiggle, and then 4 times square root of 1. Well, that's going to be square root of 16 equals 4 times 1. So 4 equals 4. That's legit. So, nice answer. Keep rolling. Let's see what we can get done. Okay. I don't like the z. I'm going to change him. I'm going to do x. My z's look like 2's. Okay. Our radical is already isolated, but this one's going to be hard. I'm just telling you, and this is what you've got to be ready for. You've got to square the whole side over there on the right. So square this whole side, square this whole side. The left side's easy. The radical just comes off. The right side is not. That means write that thing twice. I might need to, let me shrink my pen so I can get more on here. So I got 7, well, I thought I was shrinking it. Maybe I didn't. Okay. 7x plus 16 equals, okay, now that's going to be x squared, negative 4x. So I did this, I did that. Then I'm going to come back and do that one. That'd be negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. All right, as soon as you see that x squared, that means everybody's got to come over here on the right side so we can factor. So he needs to move and he needs to join his buddies. So he needs to just come in there with the x's. Move your 16. Line him up with the numbers, the constants. So everything's gone on this side. You have 0, which is what you want. Nobody went with x squared. I have to put all 3 of these together. So that's going to be a negative, oops, excuse me, the 4, and the 4 gives me an 8, but then I got to put 7 in there, which makes it 15. All right, here, haha, my 16's cancel. Isn't that nice? So at this point, we need to factor. So we're going to take out what's common. So always be ready. That's the first line of defense. Look for what's common. Then set each one equal to 0. Okay, you still got to check. So if I put a 0 in my problem, I have 7 times 0 plus 16 equals 0 minus 4. So that's going to wipe out right there. And so I get square root of 16 equals negative 4. Well, square root of 16, they're wanting you to do the primary. Is 4 equal to negative 4? No. So this goes out. Right, so put 15 in there. So I've got the square root of 7 times 15 plus 16 equals 15 minus 4. Okay, 15 minus 4, I know that's 11. I don't know what 7 times 15 is. So let's see here, 7 times 15. I probably should, but I don't. Okay, so that's 105 plus 16. And 105 plus 16 is 121. Square root 121 equals 11. Yes, it is. So 11 equals 11. We're good. That's a legit answer. Okay? But you got to work it all the way out. I would definitely know how to do that before I walked in here for test day. All right, last one. Again, a tough one. You're going to have to go through and you're going to have to square twice. I know how to do this for test day. This side is already isolated, so go for it. Square this whole side. Square this whole side. All right, so, when I square the left side, let's just write it twice because this is going to get nasty. So x plus 2, square root of that, plus 1. And then I've got square root of x plus 2 plus 1. It's got to be identical. Equals, now on the right side, you just take the house off. That's it. All right, now I've got to multiply this out. Square root times square root, they're the same. Take the house off. So square root times 1, I didn't get all the way there, did I? So I get one of the square roots. So 1 times the square root, well, I get another one. Then 1 times 1. All right, just bring this down. He's just got to come along for the ride. We're going to clean up again. So we're going to have x, and I'm going to go ahead and put these two together. Plus 3. And then these are the same. I just have 2 of them. So I'm going to put a 2 in front. All right, now, at this point, your job is to get the radical alone. So we have to isolate the radical. Now, so all that means is move all your terms over. So this 2 is okay, but the x and the 3 are not. So x moves over, 3 moves over. You can't do the 2 because he's multiplied, okay? So he's part of the term. These are gone. So I've got 2 square root of x plus 2. All right, that's going to give me 2x, and that's going to give me 4. All right. At that point, square this side, square this whole side. Okay. So I'm going to square the 2. 2 times 2 is 4. when I square the radical, the house comes off. Alright, so here I'm going to write it twice, 2x plus 4 times 2x plus 4. Yes, I could have done something to make this problem a little bit easier at that point, but I skipped that step because everybody's not ready for it. Alright, let's distribute. So we've got 4x plus 8. And then we're going to do 2x times 2x, which is 4x squared. Don't forget to do 2 times 2. And then that's going to be 8x. And then distributing the 4, I get another 8x. And then 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, you see the square? That square is just sitting there jumping up and down saying, everybody's got to come join me. So these two little boogers have got to come over, join like they did before. So that gives me a 0, which I need. That's 4x squared. Okay, now let's see here. 8 and 8 makes 16. Minus 4 is 12. And then 16 minus 8 is 8. Okay, now if I were you, I would definitely try to make this problem easier at this point. Do you see? It's time to factor. And when you factor, your first line of defense is always GCF. You can take 4 out. That makes x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now you can go again. That would be two numbers that multiply to 2 and add to 3 is 2 and 1. Signs are the same, both plus. Now when you set everything equal to 0, 4 times 0 makes no sense. That's trash. X plus 2 equals 0 makes a negative 2. That one makes a negative 1. Now, same old, we've got to check. So go back to your original problem, and let's put in a negative 2. Alright, so that'd be negative 2 plus 2 plus 1 equals, alright, now I've got to put negative 2 in over here. Just trying to keep it from running into stuff. Okay, so on this first one, that's square root of 0 plus 1 equals, and that's going to be square root of negative 6 plus 7. Alright, so that's 1 over here because square root of 0 is 0. And that's just going to be square root of 1. So 1 equals 1. That's legit. Perfectly fine answer. No problemo. Check number 2. Okay, we're going to put in negative 1. Okay, so negative 1 plus 2. And there's a plus 1 on the outside. Equals, okay, 3 times negative 1. And then we've got plus 7. Alright. If you put those two together, I get square root of 1 plus 1. And then that's going to be negative 3 plus 7. Okay, so that's 1 plus 1. That's just 2. Alright, so that's going to be square root of 4, which is 2. Hey, they both work. Cool. Alright, so hopefully that'll help and give you some examples that you didn't get to see during class. I apologize about not being able to get done on time. Next time we'll just have to start class with the review, but hopefully this helps.